Hi Taurus, welcome to Yellow Cardinal Tarot with me. My name is Carole and this is going to be a general reading for you for August 2026. Big month this month, I think, energetically for sure. And it's a big month on Yellow Cardinal Tarot because I've decided to do mirror work, and it's my, this is the reading that's the most requested. And so what I'm going to do before I forget is I've decided that when I offer when I read one of the readings, when I use one of the readings that I have on my personal readings page on carolecares.com, I have decided to lower the price on them. So this month, I'm going to have a significant discount on mirror work, which, like I said, is my favorite out of all of them. People love that one, and I think that's what I wanted to say about that. Yeah. So, and that's gonna be discounted August 1st until the end of the month. So you have you don't have to have the reading done during that time, but you have to have paid for it during that time. And then I'll change the price at the end of the month. Well, let's talk about mirror work and why this reading is so cool. So what mirror work is it's something that you can use to understand what's going on with your internal system, your belief systems, your emotions that are going on with you right now. And they're living in your unconscious. And so your conscious world, whatever is happening in your world right now, is trying to reflect something to you that you can connect to your own unconscious world. And so, because there's something here that you need to heal, right? So I want you this month to start watching or building awareness around what's happening in your outer world, what's happening in your conscious world, right? How are people responding to you? How are your pets responding? What's going on with your pets? What's going on in your own system? In the last reading I did for Capricorn, they were having some sleep issues. So what are we going to find? Maybe we'll find something in this reading. So how are your children, if you have children? How are they responding to you, right? And so are the relationship problems you're having right now issues that are going on? Are you involved in some drama, some craziness around you? So I want you to use the people around you, your children, family. These are the best mirrors in our life that will tell us what needs healing at this time. And so it's really important and critical for us to excavate these things that are in our shadow, that are sitting in our unconscious. And the universe does that to us by putting it right out in front of us. And it's just amazing when you start realizing, it's just like, wow, this is a mirror for me. What is going on in my outer life right now? Because it's reflecting what's going on. And that's why certain people show up in our life when you're like, why is this person showing up again? Well, because there's something here you need to look at. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use two decks. On my left, your right, this is going to be your conscious world. This is your outer world, right? This is what your mind knows, which is what you see. I'm going to use the Erenberg Tarot for that. I'm going to pick 3 cards. Then I'm going to pick 3 cards over here on your left, my right. And that's going to be your inner world. And so this will be a mirror. I'm going to find out what's going on right now for you. And then we're going to look at, okay, what's your shadow saying? What's happening here? What's going on in the unconscious? What's it trying to pull out of your unconscious that needs healing? And I'm going to use the Curious Travels deck. And there's a lawnmower, I think, that's going on. So I'm going to have to try to ignore that. I don't know if you can hear it. And then I'm going to look at a message from the universe. There's a message here, a main message. And then I'm going to get some information from the tarot as well as to how you can start to heal this. And I'll offer you some videos at the end. All right, so let's begin. I'm going to ask for 3 cards. I'm going to be really strict about the 3 cards. Because I really just want 3. So let's start out with the first card for your outer world. And you have here the Knight of Pentacles in reverse. Looks like the Knights are going to be coming out a bit here. It came out last reading for me. So start with the Knight of Pentacles. And another card behind that. The King of Wands. And one more here. One more. There we go. The 10 of Pentacles. I have a lawnmower going on outside. I have a dog barking out there. I'm just like, ah! Okay, so I'm going to put that away. If I have to clarify, I will with the Radiant Rider-Waite over here. So let's pick 3 more cards for your inner world, the unconscious, your shadow, right? This is what's coming up for healing. This is what this is mirroring right here. So 1 card, please. There we go. You have the Queen of Cups in reverse. And 1 more. The Star card in reverse. And 1 more. Last one. Ooh, I said I was going to be strict about the cards, so I will. I'm just going to pick the one that's turned over. And that was the 5 of Pentacles, and that was sideways here. So, yeah, I'll be strict. I said I was going to be strict. I'd be lying if I... All right, so message from the universe. 1 card here. Sun card is your message. And the healing card. This guy wants to come out. 6 of Cups. Okay, let's get started. So your conscious world, your outer world, this is what you're aware of. You started off with the Knight of Pentacles. So the Knights in my deck. I've been doing my own intensive healing journey for about 9.5 years right now with a trauma coach, and I do inner parts work. And so I've been able to apply my inner parts work to my cards. And the Knights in my deck are what I call my freedom fighters. And that's the part of us, and we all have freedom fighters, is that part of us that wants to be free, wants to be ourself, wants to do what we want to do, and wants to be authentic. You have the Knight of Pentacles here. And the Pentacle is all about being in our body, being very grounded. And I look at the Pentacle when it comes to this as that sign that wants peace in themselves. But there's something here, because this is in reverse here. I don't think you have that peace. There's something here that's blocking your peace. There's something here that's blocking that feeling of being able to do what you wanted to do, or being at peace with that, and feeling free. And oftentimes, when this part comes up, this Knight, it tells me that there's a lot of anger sitting here. And so I'm going to say that you're sitting with some anger. A lot, maybe, but you're angry. And maybe you're angry at people, and at the wrong time. You get angry at people, and you regret it. and wrong time, wrong place, wrong people. And so, and maybe, or you're one of those people that just knows you're angry and you're bottling it up, right? And so there's something here, like there's something preventing you from feeling peaceful, feeling grounded, feeling centered and whole in yourself. But you've got this anger going on, right? Maybe we'll be able to figure it out in a minute. And then the next card is the King of Wands. And so the king in my deck represents your ego self. I call it my controller. The controlling part of you, which is your mind, it's the one that controls us. I mean, let's be real. We think that our ego self is our true self, and it's not. But it is a part of you that is a protector part. Our ego self is a very scared part. And it's tried to protect us from in childhood. And so what's happening here is you're sitting here with this anger that needs to come out. And you've got your controller, your ego self sitting behind that going, no way. Don't you dare touch that anger. The ego self is petrified of emotions. It was funny because one of the comments I've had on my readings, and I'll never forget it, is, the ego self isn't a scared part, LOL. And I just thought, yeah, there's your ego self saying that, because it's the most scared part in our system. It's petrified of emotions, right? And let me tell you, anger is very petrified of. And why? Because, well, there's a chance, I don't know what's sitting over here in your unconscious, which is your childhood right here. There's a chance that you tried to use your anger when you were younger, and you were told in so many ways not to take that anger out. Well, the King of Wands is, the wand itself is about, wanting that, wanting to go in the direction you wanted to go into, right? And it's like, nope, you're not allowed. So, and then the last card that comes out interesting is the Ten of Pentacles. And the Ten of Pentacles is a card that talks about, here's this old wise man, right? We often look at elders and elderly people as wise people. What did they know? Because they've experienced so much, but they've also handed down things to us. And one of the things that are handed down to us is generationally is trauma. And this is my generational trauma card. These are patterns. This card talks about patterns that are handed down to us. And so I'm wondering here is, where does this anger come from? Is it something that was handed down to you? Like, it's really important that we sometimes look at our genealogy and what were our grandparents are like. Why am I angry? Were my parents angry? Chances are their parents were angry as well. And so, but then not only were they angry, but it's emotion that we don't touch. We've been taught not to feel our emotions, and especially don't touch that anger. And so you're sitting here right now with feeling quite, I'm going to say, ungrounded, and not feeling that great, because you've got this anger. You're sitting here, maybe you know that you're angry and you don't even know why. Maybe you're angry at someone and you don't even know why, but there's some anger that has to come out. And so let's go over here, right? This is the mirror. There's something here telling you, well, you need to look at your anger. Where's that come? Why were you angry when you were young? What happened to you when you were younger? If you were a teenager, even younger than that, that would have brought on this anger, or you were told, don't touch that anger. And so I'm going to find that out right here. The first card that comes out is the Queen of Cups. Well, the Queen of my deck is the feminine side to us, right? The ego self is the masculine side to us. It's our mind. The Queen is our body. She's the feminine side to us, and she has the cup. Cups represent emotions. And so right here, buried in your shadow, in your unconscious, is the feminine side to you that's meant to use all your emotions. Well, you buried it. When you were younger, you were told, you were taught, and I think this is what's been handed down here is, look at your own parents if you can, and your grandparents, and see, how did they feel about emotions? Did they use emotions? Is emotions even a thing? People around you encourage you to use emotions, or did they tell you not to? Because I'm seeing here that you were told, don't use your emotions. The Star card comes out after it, and the Star card is in reverse because, Star card talks about healing, because emotions are healing. The way I heal is through my emotions. When I start to get emotions first, and then I'll get a memory because all my memories are repressed. And then I can get some more emotions that go with it. But emotions are what heal us, because when we were younger, and if we're not allowed to feel, if we're told certain emotions are bad, or we're not allowed to use those emotions, we put them away, we store them in our body, which is, that's how certain diseases start, or illnesses start, is when we have these emotions. Anger lives in our liver, I believe, and we can, and that's where it starts to fester in our body. So it's very important that we heal. And so this is in reverse here, and so it's almost like there's some healing that needed to take place, but you didn't have the capacity to do it for some reason, because you weren't allowed to use your emotions. And I think in particular, what came out sideways here was the Five of Pentacles. And this card talks about this individual that needs help, right? They need to go and ask for help. They need the right pair of shoes, first of all. This card is in the winter. They're not dressed properly. And here's a place of worship that they've walked by. They haven't even considered that they can go in there and get some help, right? And so this card, this Five of Pentacles, speaks about a shame. It speaks about unworthiness. And so I think when you were younger, because you weren't allowed to feel and use your emotions to help you get through. When I say healing now, it's coming to me. It's like, it means like, when you're younger and you can use your emotions, that helps you heal whatever's happening around you or get through, but you weren't allowed to. So I think you stored a lot of your emotions inside. And if we're told you can't use your emotions, well, you're going to feel that you don't matter. And that's where this unworthiness comes from. And so I think here in that, I think there's a part of you that's sitting here, maybe feeling, when I said you don't feel that peace inside of you, you don't feel that wholeness. Maybe you're feeling like you don't matter, and maybe you're just feeling like people don't really notice you and don't care about you. And that's a real feeling. But guess what? That's coming from childhood. That's the mirror. The mirror, whatever's happening to you right now, the way you feel about yourself and feeling like you don't matter and you just can't get to those emotions that you need to get to. Well, they're right here. You've been taught when you were younger to bury your emotions. And so you felt like you didn't matter. And so what's the message here? Well, you have the Sun card coming out here. And the message from the universe is like, I think, the sun talks about, when I see the sun, it's 3 letters, sun, but it just brings so much to us. It could be saying, maybe you need to get out. You need to get out in nature. You need to get in the sun. A lot of us stay inside too much. We don't get outside enough. But you need to find something that's going to bring you joy. This card is about joy as well. And I don't mean fake happiness. I mean like real joy. What is it that you can do for yourself? I know when I was asked that when I was in my first year or two of intensive therapy, and I was asked by my own therapist, like, what brings you joy in life? I had no idea. But I had to ask my inner parts. I had to ask my small children inside of me, my inner parts, what would bring you joy? What do you need? One of them told me they wanted a doll. So I went out and I bought a doll at Walmart for myself. And for about a year I slept with it. I treated it like my baby. And because that's what my inner part needed. It needed a little dolly, needed to go back there. So maybe your inner part needs a truck, or what do they need? Ask them. I journal to them. I say, well, what do you need from me? What is it you need? If you don't know, maybe there's a part of you that needs something because they feel so unworthy. And they want you to know that that's how they feel. There's a part of you that feels really, really unworthy that's holding on to that. And you're the adult now, and so you're the one that has to, be that parent for them. And so what healing needs to take place here, and this is the message from the universe, we have this 6 of Cups. 6s in my deck have a duality to them, right? And I often see this card. This is a card about giving and also receiving, right? Maybe you're someone that gives a lot, but it's really hard for you to receive. But if we're always giving, we're not going to be able to receive. And it's the other way around as well, right? If you're always taking, take, you're not going to know what it means to give. And so, where are you with this card right here? Do you have difficulty receiving? And I'm going to say you probably do, because here's this shame right here, right? And the unworthiness that you're sitting with. You're sitting with a lot of unworthiness, and it's time that you talk to your parts and you start to find out, what part inside you feels unworthy, right? And how can you make that part of you feel worthy again? And so I'm going to leave you with a playlist on shame, and then there's some ideas in there what you can start to do. I know with shame for me, for anybody actually, it's not an emotion that people talk about in society, but everybody has it, and it's the shittiest feeling. That's why it starts with SH. It just really is a shitty feeling. And so we don't talk about it. We don't like to tell people, I just feel unworthy today. I feel like I don't matter today, right? We just don't say that. But I think it's important with shame is that you bring it out in the open. If there's one person tell them, tell them how you're feeling about yourself. Get that shame out. And that helps it to dissipate, it really does. It helps it just to get it out there. Because one way to get your shame out is to tell somebody. And maybe you can tell them, I don't want your pity. I don't want anything. I just want you to know that's how I feel about myself right now. And it's okay. And so on these videos, I'm going to give you some writing prompts that you can write from. I journal a lot from I'm a piece of shit. I don't matter. I hate myself. Anything you can think of, because you would have felt all of that when you were younger, right? And it's really coming up now for you to heal. And so, Taurus, I want you to have compassion for yourself for what you're working through. This is a very difficult journey, the healing journey, but it's the most important one. So take care, and I'll talk soon. Bye.